I would like to warn.
The situation in the Middle East is growing more dire by the hour. The war in Gaza is raging and risks spiraling throughout the region. Divisions are splintering societies, tensions threaten to boil over.
Lebanon, Libya, Liechtenstein, Luxembourg.
Nothing can justify the deliberate killing, injuring, and kidnapping of civilians or the launching of rockets against civilian targets. All hostages must be treated humanely and released immediately and without conditions.
Kenya, Mexico, Morocco, Namibia,
It is important to also recognize the attacks by Hamas did not happen in a vacuum. The Palestinian people have been subjected to 56 years of suffocating occupation.
Secretary General, His Excellency Antonio Guterres.
I am deeply concerned about the clear violations of international humanitarian law that we are witnessing in Gaza. Let me be clear, no party to an armed conflict is above international humanitarian law.
Kenya, Mexico, Morocco, Namibia,
Thankfully, some humanitarian relief is finally getting into Gaza, but it is a drop of aid in an ocean of need. In addition, our UN fuel supplies in Gaza will run out in a matter of days, and that would be another disaster.
Kenya, Mexico, Morocco, Namibia,
Make the delivery of aid easier and safer, and facilitate the release of hostages. I reiterate my appeal for an immediate humanitarian ceasefire.
Kenya, Mexico, Morocco, Namibia,
Even in this moment of grave and immediate danger, we cannot lose sight of the only realistic foundation for a true peace and stability, a two-state solution.
Kenya, Mexico, Morocco, Namibia,
Polarization and dehumanization are being fueled by a tsunami of disinformation. We must stand up to the forces of anti-Semitism, anti-Muslim bigotry, and all forms of hate.
Mr. President, Excellencies, members of the Security. The risk of significant further deterioration in the situation of the occupied West Bank or spillover of the conflict in the region remain significant. Medical workers and first responders, with more than 50. The unresolved conflict and continued occupation shape the reality of every Israeli and every Palestinian. For 15 years, the Palestinian population have been living under militant rule and a strict closure regime as the Palestinian divide hardened. For a generation, hope has been lost, and despair has prevailed for those who see prospect for a more peaceful future pulling still further away. Only a political solution will move us forward.
Agreement on the resumption of aid deliveries and the release of a small number of hostages over the past few days shows that through diplomacy, negotiations, humanity can prevail, and we can find humanitarian solutions, even in the depths of this conflict. Thank you for this opportunity to update the Security Council on behalf. If we are to prevent any further descent into this humanitarian catastrophe, dialogue must continue to ensure essential supplies can get into Gaza at the scale needed, to spare civilians and the infrastructure they depend on, to release hostages, and to avoid any further escalation and spillover. The world is looking to the member states around this council to play its part in leading the way.
I echo the Secretary General's appeal for an immediate humanitarian.
We are here today to stop the killing, to stop the massacres being committed against the Palestinian people. The ongoing massacres being deliberately and systematically and savagely perpetrated by Israel, the occupying power, against the Palestinian civilian population under its illegal occupation must be stopped. The Security Council has a duty to stop them. The international community is obliged, under international law, to stop them. It is our collective human duty to stop them. Now, continued failure at this Council is inexcusable. No amount of weapons, no alliance will bring What Israel is doing is constant with its belief that we are subhumans, or human animals, as they put it. But surely you don't share that belief. You do not believe our lives are less worthy, less sacred, more expendable. So imagine what you would do if bombs were falling on Israel, killing civilians by the thousands, and then ask why is this any different?
Young babies, children are held in Gaza. This is beyond imagination, a living nightmare. Ofri, 10 years old. Avigail, 3 years old. Maya, 17 years old. Raz, 4 years old. Aviv, 2 years old. Ariel, 4 years old. Kfir, little Kfir, only 9 months. Yuval, 8 years old. Ofir, 17 years old. There are just a few of the many children and babies that have not seen evil. They have not caused evil, but they are victims of evil. These kids witness horror which cannot, after the most vicious and brutal terror attack in the modern history. If all nations do not stand decisively and clearly by the innocent orphans left alone in the world, by the kids that were slaughtered while dancing at sunrise, by the Holocaust survivors, murdered or kidnapped. Stand by Israel on our mission to eliminate the monsters from the face of the earth. Do I want to remember this world upside down?